Okay, I'm going to read this part and then I'm going to say something. Okay. And same book. The human mind is commonly full of stress and anxiety. It does not do a good job focusing on the present moment, and it is full of attachments that get in the way of living peacefully and making effective decisions. Honoring the fact that our ups and downs have affected us deeply opens us up to learning how to live in a better way. Left to its old patterns, our mind will continue its reactivity and keep us functioning on autopilot. What the mind knows best is repetition, which normally keeps us in a state of survival mode that defaults into blind behavior, especially when difficult situations arise. Even when an emotion is hard on the body, like stress or anxiety, we will continue repeating it if it is a way we have reacted in the past. Each reaction will even go as far as to slowly mold our perception to the point where everything we perceive is first filtered through a thick layer of old conditioning, combined with our current emotions. Since our perception is being driven by our past and our emotions, it will inhibit our ability to recognize reality as it is. The mind will not do what is good for it unless we intentionally train it to do so. I was going to stop there, but healing begins with the willingness to become an explorer, to enter the vast inner forest that exists within your being, using your awareness as the light that shows you the way. I say that also because the reason why I bring this up, I see a lot of times where people, part of them wants to heal, a big part of them wants to heal, but they also are afraid of doing the inner work, are afraid of facing themselves, are afraid of feeling their emotions to completion, are afraid of exploring their inner world. They're afraid of the inner work. So what they'll do is create a narrative that if they just pray and sit, if they just ask for it enough by whatever it is that they believe in, or even at times ignore it enough, suppress it enough. There's other avenues as well: suppressing, ignoring, numbing, distracting. If they do this enough, it will somehow fix itself or go away entirely. I'm here to tell you it will not. It will not. That is the equivalent of lifting up a rug and sweeping dirt under the rug. It may look good on the surface, but it is accumulating in your nervous system. The dirt is still under the rug. And the only way to truly clean the home or the floor is to finally lift the rug and sweep the dirt from under the rug out of the house or into the trash or whatever. And same to say, for those of you who refer to the Bible, I have part of my community, they like to refer to the Bible. That also says faith without works is dead. Faith alone is not enough. Faith is important. It is definitely important, and it is definitely a valued asset, a valued tool in the process. It is necessary, but it is not the only thing. You have to put in the actual work. You have to actually take the steps in the direction. You have to actually grab the broom with the dustpan, lift the rug, and clean it up. And that is not something that, no matter what you believe in, whatever you believe in, that's not its job to do. That is our job to do. See, That's why we are co-creators. Whatever divinity you follow is just as important as the work that you have to put in on your end as well. Otherwise, it can't happen. It is a journey that is challenging and sometimes filled with difficulty, because you will undoubtedly come across shadows and part of yourself that may be hard to fully embrace with self-acceptance. But this is a challenge that can bring unparalleled rewards. Oh my God, yes it can. Yes it can. When you are able to see yourself clearly, you awaken your true inner power. There is a universe inside each one of us that is untapped and largely undiscovered, but most people walk the earth unaware that they are not seeing with their eyes. Instead, they are seeing with their emotions. And often, these emotions are just the echoes of their past hurts. Many fall into the cycles of projection, where they are taking their inner roughness and spewing it out into the world. That goes right into also where, you bleed on those who didn't hurt you. But even those who did hurt you, because I've thought to myself, even those who do hurt us, does it solve it to bleed on them? No. I don't think they cared in the first place. So it's like, I could go deeper in that direction. It could be that it's not that they didn't care. It's that they also were so hurt that they're now bleeding onto you. I know. But bleeding on each other is not the solution. It's to look inward. It's to look inward. Look at the parts of ourselves that we are having trouble embracing. Really getting to the bottom of it, getting to the root of it, and applying healing, full acceptance and honesty, and then cultivating that part of you, integrating that part of you. Deep healing and emotional maturity begin when you turn your attention inward. The ability to see yourself as you move through the ups and downs of life without running away or suppressing your feelings enhances your understanding of yourself. Feel your emotions as they come and go. Come to terms with your past and notice the way it shows up in your present. Watch your mind as it processes difficult situations. Take note of behavior patterns that show up repeatedly in your life. Examine your inner narrative and how your own thinking affects your emotions. Because we do create narratives behind our emotions. And a lot of times, these narratives are not aligned with what actually happened. Our narratives do not take into consideration of accepting what actually happened in reality itself, and all the factors and nuances that went into that moment and creating that moment. Our narratives mostly speak from what hurt us in the past. And a lot of times it tends to not have anything to do with what just happened. Paying close attention to all these mental movements opens the door to the type of learning that can transform your life. But none of these qualities of the mind occur on their own. They need to be intentionally activated and consistently cultivated to become strong enough to alter our mental health and shift us from surviving to thriving. Again, I'm going to say it again. Faith without works is dead. If you're sitting there and you're hoping that these things fix themselves, you're just praying for healing and things like that, and there's nothing wrong with praying, there's nothing wrong with faith, there's nothing wrong with any of these things. But you have to also put in the work as well. Otherwise, it stays right where it's at and you just stay stuck in your cycles. Nothing actually gets addressed. Because especially when it comes to our inner world, the first step has to come from us. More than the first step, but especially the first step has to come from us. It has to come from ourselves. And a willingness to question all of the narratives we've created in our mind, and a willingness to look at ourselves as we are and not who we think we are, not who we hope we are, not defining ourselves by just our shadow, or even being afraid to look in the shadow, because the shadow doesn't just hold parts of ourselves that we don't embrace, but it holds parts of ourselves that are absolutely amazing, but at one point was not safe for us to embrace. So it got put in the shadow. Our shadows is not something to be ashamed of. It's just parts of ourselves that we put in a shadow. Think of a shadowy closet. You could be hiding some of the most amazing parts of yourselves tucked away in a closet, because at one point that's what you learned was safe to do in order to survive what you were facing. I'm here to tell you that doesn't apply anymore, and it doesn't have to continue to apply. Question every narrative. Question everything you've ever thought. Question all the stories that you live by. Question your emotions. Where did they come from? What made you feel like that was necessary in order to survive whatever it is you were going through, or face whatever you were going through at the time? Most of the time, a lot of these things are now maladaptive. They're counterproductive to whatever it is we're now trying to create, whatever it is we're now trying to have, or relationships we're trying to have, or a life we're trying to have, or who we're trying to become more of in ourselves. Faith without works is dead. It's dead. It's nothing. You have all the faith in the world, but if you just sit on a rock hoping that that's enough to change it, it's never going to happen. Now, if you put both together, oh, you're a powerful force. You cannot be stopped no matter what tries to get in your way. When you use both, faith and works. When you question yourself, when you take steps every day, even when it's uncomfortable, even when you don't want to, even when you're frustrated or have tension, you still take steps towards honesty, towards questioning yourself and everything, towards little by little accepting reality for what it is, through also accepting yourself for who you really are. Taking a look at the parts we don't want to take a look at. Applying boundaries even when it's uncomfortable. Speaking your truth even when it's uncomfortable. Practicing and cultivating within yourself self-confidence, self-respect, self-love. Creating safety in your body and in your nervous system. Not just spiritually, but in your body and in your nervous system that drives your behavior. Creating safety there for all parts of you to come back home. That's the work. Love you guys.